persons in Mexico, this family get organized and seek from their families into different places. And it's very, very sad when they find out a missing relative from I don't know how to say, las clandestinas? Yeah, clandestine graves. So that's an alternative that was born for the communities. And that's also something that people need to improve, people's alternatives all over, because we are not going to stand out when the crisis, the humanitarian crisis, is arriving us and knocking our doors. And that's what we are looking for through people's alternatives. We are facing this powerful and among us rich that is going to take decisions for us into the finance institutions. Let's take for an example that these mother seekers face a cruel reality. When they ask for the government to seek the people that are missing, even if when they have governments and institutions and people in the government wanted to help them, the thing is the budget. The institutional budget in Mexico to find people missing are not good enough. And that's something that it's linked between the austerity measures, the austerity measures that different governments around the world are taking on. So these women seekers now are pulling to the government to give the necessary budget to find the missing persons. So that's the call for us today. Let's try to find here in our own stories, how do you get into organize to face this inequality. And the thing that I wanted to ask you, because the idea is this is like an assembly. In my community, when we are make changes to the town and we are going to work to improve things, the first thing we do at the beginning of the year is get reunited and then talk not about if the municipal president is doing his work, or what about the Congress, what they are doing. No. The people face inequality in the daily basis with the public transportations that not passing for us at the right time, or maybe the possibility to crash, or the subways not being subsidized sufficiently, or the public programs and the public wealth not being also sufficing. So that's the way the people understand and live inequality. So for this activity, I want to ask you, where was the first time that you see an injustice and you can call it inequality? You can find inequality there. And the second question is, when was the first time you organized to challenge that? And how your community challenged that? Yes, of course. The question is, when was the first time that you see some injustice and you can call it this is an inequality issue? And the second question is, when was the first time you get involved, maybe being young or maybe being a kid, to transform that reality? So the call to action is that, and also I'm going to record your participations because I'm a creator content in Mexico. So I have this journal to my followers so they can see what is happening here. And they wanted to know everything about you. And for example, I asked my followers what they want to know. And everyone said to me that they want to know about the textiles and your dresses and your suits, because to be honest, it's amazing. You look like all like models, you feel like I want to buy everything. So that's the thing, that also want to know how do you face reality here, and also they wanted to know how to perceive if you find a link between us or something that get us together through the sea and through the different circumstances. So that's the thing that I wanted to ask you. I'm going to record it, and after I'm going to edit that video, some small, beautiful video, and it will be shared from the AfCoDD and the Fight Inequality Alliance networks. So that's the call for now. And the people who can participate, it will receive a gift, because I'm a crazy person about postcards. So I have postcards from my travels inside Mexico. So everyone who participates will get a postcard from Oaxaca, from Chiapas, from Guadalajara, from everything, the places I've been go to. So somebody want to share?
A very good evening, everyone. I am Ivan Senyonjo, a Ugandan by nationality, and I work for Nation Media Uganda. Well, the first time I experienced the inequality, being an African, we almost have a similar way in which Africans upbring their children. You find the families across Africa, we almost have a similar way in which we are brought up. We most of the times have extended families, okay? You have a brother, a sister, a cousin, an auntie. It is so part of Africa, right? So I one time happened to grow up from a family of my father's brother, okay? And I grew up from my father's brother. How is that going? My uncle. Okay, yes, I grew up from there, okay? And he was the one who was paying all the tuition, okay? So when it comes to a parent paying tuition for you, they expect results at the end of the day. But this is the person who also had biological kids within the house, okay? And we were going to the same schools. So I returned home, or we return home after the schooling is done with the report cards, and I present my report card, okay? Of course I have performed. I've been a performer since. And then their kids also come and present their report cards. I was a better performer all throughout. But then the appreciation would go to the biological kids, regardless of how they had performed. Even if they were second last, even if they were third last, all the prizes would go to them. So, of course, as a child, you sit down and you ask yourself questions. Of course I performed. I was number 2, I was number 3. How come the praise has gone to this other person? Okay? So that is the first form of inequality that I experienced as a child. And I got to know that, okay, in the world we live in, there will always be inequalities here and there. That is the short version. Thank you.
That's why I'm a Litchfield, so my father was mixed race, but my father was from Eswatini, and Eswatini, everyone classifies Eswatini, whether you're being or because there's only one language. So the inequality I experienced was, if my mom went with me to Bara, which was an African hospital, So you belong to Joe McJelly. And my mom would say, no, but I brought this one. And they say, irrespective, this one can't enter. The Namibians will understand what I'm talking about. No, this one can't enter here. And then, because I'm the last child, if they are sick and she has to take them to hospital, I must be left somewhere because I can't enter at Joe McJelly because of the color of my skin. I'm African. Because we had amenities for Indian, colored, white, and African. So I think it kind of stuck with me. When I speak my mind, and I always tell the NGOs that invite me, please tell them she works for herself, she's a lunatic. So don't deny us funding because of what she said. And I think, yeah, so I think that's why I always say I don't know white people love King. They haven't given me a reason. And person to person, yes, because I differentiate racism at a quantitative, that's at a race level. At person to person, I even have one friend. But at race level, no, they traumatize me because as a child, 4, 5, 6, 7, you grow and you realize, okay, so color is an issue. You just need to be a little bit lighter. Then we're a second-class citizen of the country. Indians were third-class citizens, Africans were fourth-class citizens. So I think it stuck with me. I think that's why I hate inequality, actually. I truly hate it. I could never be a career CSO. I think I belong to the trenches. I've tried to avoid the trenches. I just go back to the trenches. However, I think I'm just a fighter.
Okay, I don't even know where to start. But I'm trying to draw the line between inequality and injustice. Before I get to my personal story, it will be something that I not experienced as such, but witnessed. There's this particular woman who happened to steal 10 pula. We used 10 pula people. Well, my name is Robert. It's a from Botswana. So 10 pula is like less than $1. And this poor woman just wanted to buy something for her kids, and she was jailed for 10 years. Even as we speak, she's still in jail. We're expecting the gender-oriented organizations to do public litigation. Unfortunately, it failed the law societies and all that, so that she can be released. On the flip side, there's this High Court judge who was fingered in one of the Pandora papers, running a huge amount of dollars, but he's still administering as we speak and enjoying those ill-gotten resources. Now, that, to me, that is a clear, is it inequality or is it injustice? It's both. I think that's where my confusion is. But now drawing it personally, for me when I grew up, when I was doing standard, standard 3 or 4, then my biological father and mother, they separated. So being a mother, she took me along with her back to her maidenhood. So what means we get there, you change the same. So as I grew up, I was like, no man, there's something that's not sit well with me, and I need to redefine who I am, where do I belong, because you have this belief that you cannot spend most of your time in your actors. That's what I believe. We have this evolution that when you are going to be ill-treated, you only have a order system, you only have one. So at the moment I'm in the process of going back to my original village, which is so probably I think what you need to just have to find out how do you then distinguish, because inequality for me has to do more with economic gains, where the country, only 10% of the population, they own the economy, literally populating the country. One person that I will not even mention the name, but they control everything when it comes to as much as not only politics, I'll say everything. There are in the car industry, in the poultry industry, all the value chain from 1 day old chick to the feeds, to medicine, and they monopolize that. That's the only person who can be able to supply all those things. So to me, I think that needs to be really looked into. Merci beaucoup.
Somebody else? Yes.
Good evening to all of you. My name is Jennifer van den Jeffrey. I'm a North Parliament from Namibia. Yes. Growing up in a very patriarchal society, I contested the first time to become the vice president of a political party. And my male parts spread a story that I am white. And I'm just light of skin, but I'm not white. I am Namibian. And at that time, I showed a little bit of a boob, and they said to the other contestants or the delegates that no, you can't elect her because she's pregnant. So I lost to a male, and for the further 5 years, I really stood up and fight for it and show them that even though I could have been pregnant by then, what was wrong with it? So I thought that they really did an injustice to me. I fought for it. Today I am the vice president of my party.
Good ending for that story, for sure. Yeah.
Good evening. I don't know where to draw the line between bad traditional practice or inequality. But I'm going to say something about not a very long ago issue. I loved my father so much. We were extremely close with my dad, and he passed on. And before he did, at the point when he was not feeling well, he had been taken ill. We took him to the doctor. He stayed in hospital for some months. And when he was discharged, they said that he needs attention, and it's going to be very daunting, and he needs people around him. So I looked at my mother and I said, you know, I don't think my mom can do this alone. So I said, I think, you know, we can be able to help her, even though we'll have a nurse coming in, we can be able to help her. So we made a decision after we discussed, even with my husband, and we decided that my father, and he saw that it's something that was draining me. So we decided that my father can come to my house for that period, just for healing and to make sure that things go well. I didn't know that that's a decision that is going to impact so badly on me. The next minute I heard is a delegation of my aunties coming from the village. And it was so bad, it was actually traumatizing for me. And my auntie came, and because they didn't want my father to know, so they called me aside and they told me that it's like pronouncing a curse, that I've done a very bad thing, that why did I take my dad in? So I said, what's the problem? Then I've never forgotten. She told me, you're a girl. She didn't even say my name. You're a girl. I said, what do you mean? No, women don't do this. What do you mean? No, you can't stay with your father. I said, what do you mean? What if I was in a foreign country and my father had to travel to a foreign country to get medication? So would I put him up in a hotel or in another place? because I'm a woman. And I also asked, what if he only had daughters and never had a son? Does that mean he cannot live with me? Does that mean he cannot stay where I'm staying? Because it's just medication. And it became a very big issue, but I decided I'm not going to give up. And so the person who helped me, when my father got wind of the story, he called me and said, come. And he said, leave them alone. Leave them alone. This is between you and me and your mother. Leave them alone. And so I told them, go back to the village and leave me alone. But that was a really
Somebody else? Anything to share? No? Well, also there's a lot of process of the stories that you've been told. This dynamic is supposed to have another session when we find what these inequalities work on a big, mass scale, and how these big system of oppressions are working on, and how do we relate it with our work on the field. But I think that it's a good reminder for all the efforts in this conference, sometimes to remember why we are here, why we need to make those changes in our countries, why we need to pull things so just from to cancel debt from countries in Africa. I was looking for information about how the IMF worked during the pandemic here in Africa. And I thought, well, maybe they canceled the payment from debt from these countries, and that won't happen here, not happen in everywhere. So these kinds of inequality still happen in all the places and all hours. So also the final reflection on that is to try to understand that we, for most specialists and people with background on education and activists from some very back history, we are just people with our own stories, and we carry them as a fuel to change inequalities. And that's why inequality, as somebody said here, is not something comfortable to us anymore. We saw inequalities and we wanted to change it, and we wanted to improve different things and to seek for people's alternatives. And that's the call to action this evening for you. You can look out for the call to action on people's alternatives that we are going to do this year. We are now in 40 countries. We are now for 400 organizations around the world, and we are preparing a big mass-scale mobilization during the World Bank and the IMF meetings in the city of Marrakesh. So it is now the countries that we are prepared organizations are Zimbabwe, are Zambia, are Malawi, are Cuba, are Mexico, are Zambia, and so many others that we are listed in there in our different platforms. So if you can take your cell phones, approach to the screen and to sing the call to action, it will be very important for us, and also to have your contact so we can improve different actions and mobilizations in your country. It will be very, very amazing. So also, if we can take a photo for the People's Alternatives Assembly here, it will be so amazing. So if you can come to the screen and take a photo, please. Yes, we can do that. Yes. for the photo